that, and in this tutorial I'll show you how to make this friendship bracelet. It's alternating large hearts and 3 little hearts, and it's fairly straightforward because it tends to be fairly repetitive. It's number 14907 on friendshipbracelets.net, but if you've never made friendship bracelets before, I recommend you check out my video on how to do the 4 types of knots first, then practice with a chevron or a candy stripe before attempting this pattern. This is the pattern I'm going to be using. It is 14907 on friendshipbracelets.net. And each of these tabs up here is a string, but really I'm gonna cut my strings to 70 inches and then fold them over in half and tie them in a knot at the top. So each of these is only half a string. So you're going to need 1, 2, 3 of your dark color and 1, 2 of your light color. Alright, so I've already cut my strings, and like I said, they are all cut to 70 inches, so I have 3 of my dark color and 2 of my light color. I'm using the pink as the light color, so I'm just going to grab these ends, and then grab these ends, hold those together, find the middle of the strings, and then tie a knot. And then I'll clip that up in my clipboard and arrange my strings in the order that they appear on the pattern. So I've laid out my strings and I'm ready to get started. I have 2 dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark. Simple as that. Now for the first row, I'm going to start with my outer strings in. This is a 1-2 pattern, so you'll alternate between leaving them in and taking them out. So I'm going to start the first row with them in and do all backward forward. Now for the second row, these outer strings are going to come out, so you won't include them, and then pair off your strings into new groups, like so. For the second row, start with 2 forward backward. One backward forward. And 1 forward backward. For the third row, outer strings come back in. Start with 2 backward forward. Two forward backward. And 1 backward forward. For the fourth row, outer strings come back out. Start with 1 forward backward. One backward forward. One forward backward. And 1 backward forward. For the fifth row, outer strings come back in. Start with 1 backward forward. One forward backward. Backward forward. Forward backward. and backward forward. Sixth row outer strings come back out. Start with one backward forward. Forward backward. Backward forward. And forward backward. Seventh row, strings in, backward forward. Forward backward. Why isn't this focusing? Backward forward. Forward backward. And backward forward. Eighth row, outer strings out, forward backward. Backward forward. Forward backward. And backward forward. Ninth row, strings come in and 2 backward forward. Two forward backward. And 1 backward forward. And throw strings out, 2 forward backward. One backward forward. And 1 forward backward. Row 11, strings in, start with 1 backward forward. One forward backward. And 3 backward forward. Row 12, 1 backward forward. Two forward backward. And 1 backward forward. Number 13, strings back in, 1 backward forward. One forward backward. 1 backward forward. 1 forward backward. And 1 backward forward. Row 14, outer strings out, start with 3 forward backward. and 1 backward forward. "15 outer strings back in, start with 2 backward forward. One forward backward. And 2 backward forward. Sixteenth row, outer strings come back out. Start with 1 forward backward. One backward forward. And 2 forward backward. Seventeenth row, outer strings come back in. Start with 2 backward forward. One forward backward. And 2 backward forward. And for the very last row, outer strings come back out and do 4 forward backward. And that is all 18 steps to this bracelet, so simply start the video over from the beginning and keep repeating the pattern until your bracelet is as long as you want it. And when your bracelet is as long as you want it, simply tie it off and finish it off with 2 braids. And that is your finished bracelet. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, and subscribe.